I am from Texas. Oh, thank you. Thank you. I live in California now, but still from Texas. And that just means I thought each state must have had their own calculator. So when I went to California for college, I figured I could get a California Instruments. That doesn't exist. That's sort of like growing up in Mississippi and thinking each state must use their own name to count the seconds. Can you imagine growing up in Mississippi and being like, wow, time in Maine must go by so much faster. I don't know if we have any parents in the audience. Oh, look at that. A lot are out tonight. I do have a bit of advice. I hope it's not too late. But if you're a parent and you're at your kid's sporting event and you feel the need to yell, "Look alive out there," to your kid while they're playing a sport, maybe they don't want to play. Right? If you have to yell, "Look alive out there," maybe take them out to lunch, Find out what they really want to do, because I don't think it's that. There is one sport you hopefully don't hear "Look alive out there," and that's at a swim meet. It's a very serious problem if you heard "Look alive out there" at a swim meet. I don't think floating counts as freestyle. What I would love to see is a parent yell "Look alive out there" to their cheerleader, because that's their whole point, to look lively. This might be hard for you to believe, but I was never a cheerleader. This would be my attempt at being a cheerleader. Ready? Okay. That's my attempt at being a cheerleader. Yeah. I did play a lot of sports. My dad, he did not yell "Look alive out there" to me while I was playing sports, but he probably would if he were here right now watching me do stand-up. He would probably yell that at me. Yeah, it was my dad's dream, I think, for me to be a professional basketball player. It was my dream for him to stop saying I don't have to be a lesbian if I don't want to. He said, as you keep playing, you're going to feel pressure. They're going to want you to do that. And you do not have to do that. It will not improve your game. That's what he said. Oh, I thought it would. But so I quit basketball after high school, and I miss playing sports sometimes. But what I don't miss about playing women's high school sports in Texas was we couldn't just be the team name. We had to be the lady team name, just so that when they announced it over the loudspeaker, you knew not to come. It's a lady game. It's a lady game, yeah. And my school was awful. We were the Lady Crusaders. Crusaders, Catholic school bragging about the Crusades. And I don't remember learning about the Lady Crusades in history. But I'm sure they were a lot like the Crusades, just a little more psychological. No swords, but all side-eye, But I love the WNBA now. Yeah. Oh, okay, good. So we know what it is. That's good. It's like the MNBA, but it's the WNBA. Fan of the W? Okay. What I don't love, though, about the WNBA is, do you know what they call it when a player palms the basketball? No, not carried. They say she miscarried the ball. And I don't know. I just feel like it's okay, I can say that. My husband and I, we've had a few miscarriages. And it's okay, I barely knew them. They were really early. And I always make sure to say my husband and I had them, because I looked it up. That's the feminist way of saying it. And also, I'm not going to take full responsibility for that. I'll have a baby, but we'll have miscarriages, right? Exactly. And I don't know. They're so common, but people don't like to talk about them. I love to talk about mine. If there's ever people love it too. If there's ever a lull at a party, they're like, bring in Macey, have her talk about her miscarriages. It's always a hit. People love it. People love it, especially at Don't Tell tapings. And Dr. Squatch loves it. He loves it. Well, he's a doctor, so. People don't realize this. He's an OBGYN. You wouldn't think, but yeah. But people, yeah, they don't like to talk about it. Even though it's very common, I feel like my situation is a little bit more rare, it's a little bit more unique, because I actually had 2 in 1 year. So I think that counts as Irish miscarriages. So that's kind of fun. That's kind of fun. And all of them were technically missed miscarriages. Now, what that means is my body didn't show any signs at all that it was happening. The doctor had to tell me every time, by the way, I think you're having another miscarriage. Bit of an Irish goodbye, wouldn't you say? I mean, I don't know. No one told me. I call them me Mick carriages. Sounds like a seasonal menu item at McDonald's. The Mick carriage is back. I've said that a couple times, yeah. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. I'm losing it, you know. Thank you. You're like, do you have more on this? I do. Can you imagine? Can you imagine if I carried to term how much longer this set would be? I was doing a lot of research, okay, and another term for miscarriage is spontaneous abortion. I think I'll just use miscarriage. Spontaneous abortion, that's so aggressive. Miscarriage is kind of light. It sounds like something that would happen all the time, like a wagon accident on the Oregon Trail. But spontaneous abortion, I mean, that sort of sounds like the embryo went, I quit. And then I said, you can't quit, I already fired you. That's a spontaneous abortion. And like I said, I'm from Texas, but I live in California, and all of the miscarriages happened at 6 weeks. They're very early. But it makes me wonder, like, does my body just still think I'm in Texas? You know, and it's trying to protect me? Because, you know, after 6 weeks, you're on your own there. Yeah. Whew. When you're having these missed miscarriages, you have 3 options on what you can do. Okay, so the doctor was saying you can take a pill, which is the same as the abortion pill, or 2, you can get a procedure done, and that's the same as the abortion procedure. And he said, I think you should do that. Well, for my recent one, he said, I think you should do that. And I said, okay, well, what is it called? And he said, it's called a DNC. It's like the procedure that's the same as the abortion procedure has the same 3 letters as the Democratic National Convention. That seems a little on the nose, okay? And he was like, no, it's not DNC, it's D and C. I'm like, oh, right, because everyone's saying mac and cheese. No one's saying mac and cheese. I said, well, what was the 3rd option? You said there was a 3rd option. He said, oh, you could do nothing, see if your body deals with it on its own, but that's kind of dangerous. And I said, is that called an RNC? R and C. R and C. When you're having miscarriages, a lot of people say, like, oh, at least you can get pregnant. It's a good thing you can even get pregnant. Some people can't even get pregnant. But when I lost my 2 front teeth in high school, no one said, well, at least you had teeth. You know, at least you could get teeth. That was probably the worst sports accident I ever had, was I lost my 2 front teeth in a basketball game. I went to set a pick. I collided with someone on the other team. And so they stopped the game, they separated us like we were dogs who had gotten into a fight. And at that point I realized that my 2 front teeth were gone, okay? So I was like, while the game was stopped, I was like, can you go see if you can find them? I thought maybe they could just glue them back in, you know? And so they looked, I couldn't find them. Then finally, minutes later, my teammate comes back and goes, okay, we found him, but she's gonna take him with her, the other girl. And I was like, what? They're like, they're still in her forehead. Yeah. still in her forehead. And it makes me wonder, like, if she put those under her pillow that night. Because that's my money, you know? So the next day I got new teeth. I went to my dentist. He was known, his claim to fame was he was George W. Bush's dentist. Fan of the W? And yeah, because that's what George W. Bush is known for, his teeth, you know. I had a really good Halloween costume, though, this last year. I was George WNBA. Yeah, and I wore a jersey and it said Lady Bush. So, yeah, I don't meet a lot of people who get their teeth knocked out. And I met a comic before a show the other night, and he said he got his knocked out, and I was so excited to bond. And I said, well, how'd it happen for you? He said, well, I was having sex with this girl. And I go, oh, okay, well, all right, oh dear. And he said, and I was behind her, and she bucked. Okay, I mean, look at the scarf. I don't get that. I was like, what? He was like, I was behind her, and she bucked. And I go, oh, gosh, okay. Now, let me tell you, I have had a lot of guilt surrounding my basketball high school incident, thinking it was all my fault. Because if you really look at it, it seems like I was running around with my mouth open, taking bites out of people. But after his story, I was like, maybe she just bucked, you know? I played a lady buck that day. I came in, earlier I gave you that, if you're a parent, I gave you that advice, but I have to be honest, I'm a bit of a hypocrite. When I went in for my last ultrasound to see if I was having another miscarriage, I did look down and yell, look alive out there, because I thought maybe in this case it would work. Thank you, guys. I'm Macey Isaacs. Thank you so much. Thank you. Give it up for your host, everybody. Thank you.